You guys, thank you so much for being patient with me. Sorry for where I am sitting. My lower back has been really, really hurting me. So I'm sitting in a different chair right now. But today we are talking about becoming the hottest version of you after losing yourself. Man, this is really dark. Sorry about this, guys. A little bit of light here. And sorry for the time. I booked a coaching session, not me coaching, but someone coaching me in human design. So I just booked that right when my YouTube live was, and I sorry about that, guys. My human error, uh, human error after human design. Um, Thank you guys for talking about the show. That means a lot to me. Yes, my show does come out this Wednesday. So today's Monday, comes out Wednesday, 8 p.m. Uh, it comes out at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time on Bravo, and it's called Love Without Borders, where I take 5 singles. You guys, this show is so wild. I take 5 singles who cannot find love in the US. And so I matched them with someone, but they have to move to a different country for this person. And so not only that, but it's moving in. Sorry, I'm gonna get another light here. Mm. It's moving in with your like a blind date. Sorry, can you do you see what I see? Who's been listening to Christmas music a lot? This girl. So sorry again for the background, but I have to sit in a chair that supports my lower back. But yeah, so they have to move in with their blind date, which is just crazy. And the courage that you guys will see in these people will really inspire you. I think a lot of people are going to watch this and go, I got to get off my ass and start doing things differently. And to that, I say, yes, you do. Also, I just recorded some really cool YouTubes coming out for you guys. So excited. So, becoming the hottest version of you after losing yourself. I think this becomes very common, guys, when you come out of a relationship or if you're single and you come out of chasing someone. Who's ever been there? Thank you, Matt, for being here. I'm glad it's your first live. I'm very excited that you're here. And feel free if you guys have questions to write them in. One thing that I want to start doing is doing videos based off of questions you guys have asked and things that you need answers to. So make sure that you include your questions. And if I can't answer it here, then maybe I can record a video answering it. Um, and if I feel inspired by it as well too. I want to make more videos that actually resonate more with me. It's my constant mission to talk about things that really light me up as well as give you answers. So we can lose ourselves when we have been overly pouring ourselves into someone and it's not being reciprocated back. Have you ever been there? I have definitely been there. And I tell you what, like some of us do it over and over again. Some people they do it once and then they're like, I'm good. I don't need to do that again. But then there are some of us who are like, I'm going to keep doing that. I can't seem to learn my lesson. I'm going to continually over invest into people that aren't going to give me anything back. But I'm just going to keep doing that anyways. And it's like, no, stop doing that. Do not do that. If they're not adding back into your life, quit it. Stop doing it. And for some people, it's like, no, I just got to keep doing this because at some point it's going to pay off. And it's like, no, it's actually never, ever, ever going to pay off. It's just not. So first and foremost, before we even get into that, it's like quit overly investing into people that are not investing back into you. This is a terrible boundary. And let me tell you, it never works out. We always think that we're going to outsmart the system. We're going to outsmart like how much we give, hoping that this one is going to be different. And I'm here to tell you, it's not. It's just not going to be different. So quit doing it. It's not working. It's just not working. It didn't work then. It's not going to work now. Quit it. Stop doing it. It's not a good boundary. And for those of you who are like, I have been wanting to work with you, Erica. One thing I'm going to start sharing more in my lives is this form. If you've ever wanted to do coaching with me, fill out that application, see if you meet the qualifications, and I would love to be able to work with you. But yeah, we lose ourselves when we overly give. And here's the thing. Let me just be super honest about this. We overly give in situations because we don't already understand our innate value. We don't understand how much we bring to the table. We don't even know if we bring anything to the table, but we're just hoping that someone's going to rescue us and make us feel more worthy and make us feel loved and accept us. And it's like, no, no. I mean, they can, and people do, but ultimately that begins with you. It begins with you. I know there are certain people that don't believe that because they say, we get those needs met in the context of relationship. That's true. But if you pour water into a cup that's got a bunch of holes in it, it's never going to be full. It's always going to have empty. Always going to be empty because of the holes. And what are the holes? When we don't feel like we're valuable, when we don't feel like we're worthy of love, when people try to give us love, but we have so much hurt that we keep putting up walls and we keep blocking them. These are the holes in our heart that when people try to pour in, we end up feeling empty. We end up letting ourselves go because we keep hoping that someone's going to fill the cup, as opposed to just going, let me repair the holes. And that's what my coaching is repairing those holes. Let me just repair the damn holes so that I don't have to keep losing myself. So let's say that's you. You have become the person where you did it again. You're Britney Spears. Oops, you did it again. You lost yourself, and here you are. How do you become your hottest version of yourself after you've lost yourself? The first thing, first and foremost, is sometimes, we to get to the heart is a little bit more complicated, but sometimes it just starts off with the practical. The practical is sometimes it's just coming back to our bodies. To restore yourself to your hottest self, you have to go back to your body, your mind, and your soul heart area, right? Sometimes the body is the fastest way to feel like we're getting results. So when you feel like you've poured yourself somewhere and you want to lose yourself, I know this sounds a bit counterintuitive because I give dating relationship advice, which typically always revolves around you and your heart. But I think sometimes when we feel like we've really lost ourselves, to go in and repair those holes, to look at our deficits, to face ourselves in the mirror, I think sometimes is a bit challenging. So we have to kind of reprove ourselves to ourselves, because essentially when we lose ourselves, there's a part of us that we inherently know that we've betrayed ourselves. We inherently know that we put someone above ourselves. And so that inner voice inside is like, I don't really trust you because you forsake me, you abandon me, you betray me every time. The next time you see a shiny object or a great person that you have a bunch of chemistry with, or you think that they hung the moon, you, talking to yourself, you tend to abandon me. And so I don't really trust you right now. So we have to teach ourselves that we can trust ourselves. And I think sometimes it starts off in the simple things that we can actually see tangible results of, which is like coming back to yourself physically. It's the first place that you can start reclaiming yourself. It's like if you've gone through a breakup, if you've overly pursued someone and you've been left on empty, first thing that I would actually encourage you to do is start regaining your trust of yourself physically, which means like if you say you're going to go to the gym 3 times a week, go to the gym. If it's going on long walks, go on a long walk. If it's doing yoga every day, then do yoga every day. But start teaching your body that you're safe and that you're reliable and that you can depend on yourself. Plus, the byproduct is you start looking better. And sometimes when you start looking better, then what happens? Then you start feeling better. But the next thing that you start doing to reclaim yourself, to become the hottest version of yourself, is okay, where did I let myself go? So this is where you start teaching yourself with the mind of like, where did I let myself go? Which, you know what I'm going to say. Do you know what I'm going to say? Where did you let yourself go? You let yourself go with your boundaries. Of course, I'm going to talk about boundaries. Of course, that's what I'm going to talk about. You let yourself go with your boundaries, meaning we can feel when we're overgiving. And sometimes this is an indication that you're overgiving and you're losing yourself, is you start feeling really frustrated. I know that's a big way that I learn, okay, I'm overgiving and somewhere I'm not being in integrity with myself. I'm not being true to myself because I'm feeling really frustrated. And so frustration is a good indication that, okay, there's some boundaries here that are being ignored, that are not being adhered to. And it's like writing out, like, okay, where did I start breaking my own boundaries in this relationship? Where did I start breaking my own boundaries in pursuing this person? Well, when I kept asking them out on dates and they kept saying no to me, I kept begging, hoping that I was going to get a different response. Okay. Do you feel very respectable when you begged someone to go out with you? Hell no. But you kept doing it anyways. Why? Because you were hoping for a different result. So you betrayed you, hoping that someone else would say yes. How does that work out for you? Here's the answer. It doesn't work out for you. Or like when you're in a relationship and you stop doing the things that matter to you to make the other person happy. It's like if you, let's say, you go on a hike once a week or you go running once a week and that person that you're pursuing, they're like, yeah, but I want us to go to the movies instead. And you're like, okay. And you do that every week and you're not feeding yourself. And then the relationship falls apart and you're pissed at them, but you're not pissed at yourself for not honoring your own boundaries and saying, hey, person, I love that you want to spend time with me, but I need some me time. Or I love hiking or I love going on walks. So I'm happy to spend time with you, but you're going to have to come and do the things that I love to do. And so I think that the challenge is that when we lose ourselves in a situation and we're like, I want to get back to myself, it's oftentimes we as human beings, we want to blame the other person. And that might be something that you need to do for a little bit. Like your ego needs to feel like it was their fault. And I'm a big believer that sometimes we need to just let our egos go on a journey. I know it's very contrary to Eckhart Tolle's advice. But if you read the book, CPTSD, complex post traumatic stress disorder, to go from surviving to, I believe, thriving, he talks about how there are times that the ego needs to just kind of, have its voice. And then as we allow that to evolve and grow, that we start trusting ourselves and then we can do the deeper work. And yeah, sometimes when you lose yourself in a situation, it's very easy to talk about. But when you are going through it and you're the person that you have lost yourself, this can feel traumatic. And so, yeah, you may have to stay in an ego phase for a while and blame the other person and they're a jerk and they're an a-hole and they're selfish and they're a narcissist and they gaslit me and they're selfish and yes, you go on that tangent for a while, but eventually you come back to yourself and you go, okay, and why did I let them show up that way? Why did I let them do that? What was I hoping that I would get out of that situation? And so you come back to yourself. This is like first you do the body, then it's the mind. It's getting some clarity on where the mistakes were, where the holes are inside of you, where the mistakes were made, and getting really honest, writing those things out and going, where did I fall short here? Because when we're honest with ourselves, then we feel more confident. Then we feel like our hottest version of ourselves. But too many people want to focus on very surface things like, and I get it. I've been there. Like you want to go out to a bar, you want other people to find you attractive, you want to post pictures on social media to get that dopamine, to get that ego boost and all those things. Yeah, do that because you feel the need to do it, but don't stay there because it's not sustainable. You'll never become your hottest version of yourself, the person of you that feels alive, that feels confident, that feels fulfilled. You're never going to get to that just doing those pseudo things to get you that dopamine rush, that ego brush of like, oh my God, that feels so good. That is not sustainable. It's like saying like, for me, I love French fries and I love champagne. But let me tell you, if I eat French fries and champagne every day and drink champagne every day, it's not sustainable. I'm going to have a belly out to here because of all the grease and all the bubbles in the champagne. It's not sustainable. So we have to do the things that make us actually feel strong on the inside. And one of the strongest things that you can do for yourself is being able to face yourself. When you're able to face yourself, you actually realize, okay, I can trust myself. I know that I'm not going to betray myself anymore because I am confronting this in myself. I am confronting the fact that I made some errors and I gotta deal with that. I can't run from that anymore. I think one of the biggest things that confident people do, real confidence. I'm not talking about like fake confidence, all this pseudo stuff with people who hide behind like fast cars and pictures on Instagram and like all this fake stuff. I'm talking about like people who actually are really confident are people who really trust themselves. And the only way that you can trust yourself is by facing yourself. Sorry, my little braces. Um, blur words together. So, body, mind. Now, let's talk about the soul, the heart. Listen, when you've lost yourself in a situation, typically the message that we believe is, I'm unworthy, I'm unlovable. I'm never going to have someone who's going to understand and know me that way. I'm never going to find someone who loves me that way again. All these things are not true, but they will play over and over in your mind. And I think the biggest thing that people forget to do that is not very sexy advice, but it's real advice. And if you actually want real transformation, if you're one of those people, you're like, I'm tired of putting band-aids on my wound and then going into the next situation, repeating it and falling over and doing the same thing. If you're like, okay, I want to get off the hamster wheel, I don't want to keep repeating that, then the biggest thing that you can do is by honoring yourself, your soul, your heart, and just allowing yourself to grieve the fact of what you lost. Because when you lose yourself in pursuing someone or in a relationship, it's so complex. There's so many layers as to what you feel like you lost. And the reality is when you go through a breakup with someone, you're losing your future with that person. Chances are you guys made plans together. You're losing on the moments that you invested. There's that Gwen Stefani song where she says, "Stay up till 4 in the morning, the tears start rolling." Yeah, those long fights that you had to that were not fun, that were uncomfortable, but that made you guys grow and got you to the next level of intimacy in your relationship. It's like all those things that you invested in are no longer there. And that's hard. And you have to grieve that stuff. And I think that's the one thing that doesn't sound very sexy, but it's the actual thing that will actually allow you to heal and move on so that you can feel like, okay, I feel hot about myself. But the problem is that when people don't grieve, they keep stuffing the pain. They put on an extra layer of makeup. Guys go and buy a new watch, whatever it is that you do to get your quick fix. But when you don't actually grieve, then what you end up doing is you end up suppressing the pain. And then you can't ever trust yourself because your body and your intuition, your spirit's like, you keep running from me and you keep stuffing things down. And I'm not in alignment with that. I can't support you in that. And so that will show up in physical pains. It will show up in anxiety. Trust me, when you don't deal with yourself, anxiety will come around the corner. Depression will come around the corner. Like sleepless nights will come because why? The body is not at ease. It's like expression, like what is disease? It's the body is at ease. It's not at ease. And so when we don't allow ourselves to grieve, we end up just suppressing things. And then we try to put on these masks of pseudo confidence, and it's just not sustainable. And what happens is when you don't address the inside, when you don't allow yourself to grieve, then you don't ever get to trust yourself because you're not facing how you actually really feel. So you allow yourself to grieve. That's the first thing that you do for your heart. And then the second thing is you start rebuilding yourself of reminding yourself, what is it that makes you lovable? What is it that makes you worthy? I always suggest like putting people in your circle who love on you well, allowing those people in. The worst thing that you can do is try to be a lone ranger and go at it all by yourself. When you're hurting, you need people. I always say this thing, and I've been saying this for years. They say that it takes a village to raise a child. And I always say, like in our Western culture, I don't know where we just real thought, okay, it's a good idea to break off from that village and become self-made. Like we glorify self-reliance, we glorify independence, but it's so stupid because we're made for connection, we're made for community, we're made for relationships. And it's like in those moments where you're trying to reclaim your hot version of yourself, going at it as a lone ranger and this self-reliance, self-independence is the stupidest thing that you could ever do. No, you reach out to the people in your life who matter, who love you, and who are going to help fill your cup back up. Does this make sense? Are you guys getting this? Because this is really good. I'm just going to come to the chats. Hi, Ninja Wolf. Yes, it is coming up. Oh, it's on your grandmother's birthday. Happy birthday to your grandmother. Hi, Cayman Music. I'm so glad that you are here. He said, hello, I am ready to see this live video because I feel like some people regret losing me. Well, they should regret losing you because you're great. Hi, Boss Big Mike. Matt C, you're promoting this show, aren't you? I mean, yes, of course, I'm always going to promote the things that I'm doing. Why would I not? That'd be crazy not to. Of course, I'm going to promote this show. Zach says, human design is useful, not the absolute, though. I don't think anything is the absolute. I'm a firm believer of the melting pot. It's like, I'm never like, people always try to pigeonhole me into like, well, are like, why didn't you become like a licensed therapist, or why don't you become this, and I'm like, because everyone gets so myopically focused on their modality of life, and like this is the modality that works for everyone. It's like, no, it doesn't. There's not one modality that works for everyone. So it's a melting pot, and so you have to continue to test and experiment and alchemize things to figure out like, what is it that best serves you on where you are in your journey. So I agree with you. I don't think that anything is the end all be all, but I do believe that it is super useful. I'm curious, Zach, what your human design is. I'm a manifestor generator. Jay Geronimo, I'm so glad you're here, darling. Thank you for being here. Antonio, I am good. Matt says, yes, I've been going through this recently. I'm curious if any of this resonated with you. Thank you for noticing my nails, Ninja Wolf. You're always like steadfast with that. I appreciate that. Also, if you guys are watching this, make sure you hit the like button. That will let YouTube know that this video is resonating. Travis says, so true. Ninja Wolf says, whoever has an empty heart will have no boundaries. Neither can't see yourself anymore. You'll be all by yourself and nobody to talk to you. When he or she is not interested in dating, it's best to stop humiliating yourself and move on. True that. Antonio says, thanks for the tip, Ninja Wolf. Ninja Wolf says, no problem. Oh, thank you, Sean, for the super chat. Oh my gosh, I really appreciate that. That's super kind. Zach, you're a manifesting generator too. That's so crazy. We're the same. That's really cool. Sean, I really appreciate that. And I'm so excited for you to be a part of this new show. I can't wait for you guys to watch it. I'm so curious, like, what you think. And you can say, I know her. She's been coaching me on YouTube for like 12 years. And for those of you who found my blog 14 years ago, man, you've been around for a long time with me. Robert from Southeast Iowa. Very cool. Glad to have you here. Is it really cold there? Matt says, how was Germany, girl? I have not gone to Germany. We go to Germany next week. So I'm really excited to see the Christmas markets. I've been talking about it for a long time, so I just cannot wait. We're still waiting for them to turn on the Christmas lights here in the south of France. Apparently they're on in Paris, and I'm like, what's going on with the south of France? They won't turn on the lights. So I'll be excited. Cinnamon Bun, like I said, don't be nervous. It's your first time being the host of your own show. I can't wait to see you on TV, hopefully. Yeah, I can't wait to see myself. Thank you, Matt. Matt says, yes, everything resonates perfectly. However, the lady I attracted through your amazing advice left me as I had made one mistake. Her feeling went from 100 to 0 overnight. Are you comfortable with sharing the mistake that you made? Because I would love to help you correct that so that you never make that mistake again. And maybe we can repair this. I always believe, like, here's the thing about relationships, like, there's always solutions when you have two people who want to make it work. There's always a solution. They're not always comfortable, they're not always fun, but there are always solutions when you have two people who are willing. Antonio says, I just want to say happy holidays to you, Erica. Oh, thank you, darling. Happy holidays to you as well. Blair says, Erica, you are awesome and amazing at the same time. Wow. Thank you for that. Ninja Wolf says, it reminds you of a dating game, right, Erica? What do you mean, the TV show? Oh, I don't know if it reminds me of a dating game. This would not be like a proper dating game. Alvina says, I am in self-healing and self-love process, just out of a 5-year toxic relationships. I don't know why people from my past keep coming back. Alvina, I would really encourage you with this. I have a course called about boundaries, and then I have this product called the Boundaries Bible. This is what happens when, and I'm so glad that you're bringing this up, because when we have people, which thank you for sharing this, because that's what I love about these lives. I can talk about a topic, but then you guys can come in with questions that may not be on what I'm talking about, but that you need these answers, and I'm happy to answer them. So Alvina, when someone keeps coming back, I'm going to talk about it from a metaphysical energetic place. There's something in our energy that has an open door that keeps saying you're allowed here, right? But I promise you this, Alvina, if you were to look back at those relationships, there's a common theme in each of these people's and their character. You're going to see a commonality in this. And so oftentimes, if we can get very clear on that, then we can go, okay, did I see the signs? Most of the time, especially if you're a woman, the answer is yes, we did see the signs. Then you have to go, okay, did I negotiate with myself and letting these people back in? This is where boundaries come in. The beautiful wonder of boundaries, as though it sounds like something that's so simple. The reality is this, is when we get really clear about what we'll accept and what we'll not accept, we'll be very clear in our communication with them. And then two, when we see those same themes coming up in a person's character, that when we start saying no and we start shutting the door in those things, they quit coming. But most of the time we're going to negotiate because we don't want to be alone. Because even though we see the red flags, we tell ourselves it's better to be with someone and have someone than to be alone. And the truth is that is not the truth. The truth is it's better to be alone in that season. It's not a long-term thing, but in that season, it's better to be alone, because as you continue to push these kind of people away, what you do is you create space for the right person to come. But as long as you continue to negotiate with your boundaries and you keep opening a door and you keep creating a leeway for these people to continue to come into your life without closing the door and closing the door quickly, energetically, it's like, yeah, I want you. It's like, this sounds super harsh, but it's almost like telling the universe, I want to keep relearning these lessons. But there has to come to a point where you hit a pain threshold and you go, I am tired of learning lessons and I'm ready to be loved. And that is a solid decision that you will have to make in yourself, Alvina. It's like, okay, no more lessons from these people. It's time for me to be loved, which means I have to cut people off very quickly and very fast. When I see the same tendencies, when I continue to see the same character flaws, when I continue to hear the same lies, the answer is bye. And as you remove those people, you like make space into your own life. Perfect example, Alvina. I had some, I love clothes. This may sound super off subject, but I promise you it's on point to what you're going. I'm just trying to use a softer, lighter analogy. I really like clothes. And I was looking at some of the clothes. I've been living in Bali, for the past 4 or 5 years. And I'm now living in the South of France, and like the clothes that worked in Bali are not going to work in the South of France. And I was like, I want new clothes. And normally I'll just go out and go shopping and buy a bunch of new clothes. I was like, no, I'm going to do things differently. I need to just remove all the clothes I know I'm no longer going to wear, or that got beat up in Bali from being out in the sun or getting stains or whatever. I need to remove those so I can make space in my closet for new clothes that actually work for my lifestyle here in the South of France. And as simple as that is, like, that is something that's my way of communicating to the universe. I am ready for something new. This served me for a season, but now I'm ready for something new. And so for you, it's like, I am removing those relationships from my life. They served me for a season. I didn't want to be alone. Now I'm doing my self healing. I'm loving myself, and I'm learning that I can be okay alone for a season. This is not a permanent fix. I can be alone for a little bit, but I'm going to keep these kind of clowns out of my life. And I know what these clowns look like because I've dated them so many times. I've been in relationships with them so many times. I know the pattern. I know the character traits that I don't want to accept. And I'm going to be super clear. I'm going to be super direct with my boundaries. And if it pushes them away, good, because they're not supposed to be in my life. And the more I push those people away, the more I make space for what I really want, what will serve me now, which is a loving relationship that's not as toxic. I hope that that makes sense. I hope that resonates. Matt says, I had got unusually drunk and completely out of character and kicked a car, generally made a fool out of myself. Okay, Matt, I would encourage you to have an honest conversation. That could be triggering to her. I'm just kind of telling you what I feel intuitively. There may be some trauma there. And you can't talk to her about it this direct, but she could have been a victim of some abuse, some physical abuse, and seeing that maybe triggered something in her of abusive people. And so she ran away from that, which good for her and her boundaries. But first thing you do is take full responsibility, which I'm sure you did. Do it again and say, I'm sorry for where this hurt you. Say this, write it down. I'm sorry for where this hurt you and made you feel unsafe. And if you ever feel comfortable, write this down. I'm happy to hear how this made you feel unsafe, and see if she will share her story with you. But this sounds like, not saying, I'm not excusing your behavior by any means, but I'm saying like we all make very stupid mistakes. But when someone gets really triggered, sometimes they can just close the door and be like, I'm not going to do that again. And so sometimes it's an opportunity for you to make better decisions, which it sounds like that is, but also for her to get some healing and some resolve in these areas that are kind of scary for her, and understand that that's not her future. Robert says, Erica, I got to tell you, my girlfriend and I started out like a fairy tale, but it seems like it's slipping away. There's issues I have to face that I have to man up. It's the confrontation that is hard. Absolutely. Robert, get the Boundaries Bible on my website. If you go to online courses, get the Boundaries Bible, because confrontation can be very hard. But most of the time we don't confront things because we don't know how to say it. And so when I wrote the Boundaries Bible, I kept getting client after client going, shit, Erica, if you had just told me those words, like when I was married, I could have saved my marriage. And I got tired of hearing that ever so often. So I just said, I'm going to write all the things of what you should say in hard scenarios in relationships so that people can just say it. It's not that confrontation is so hard. It's uncomfortable, but what makes it more complex is we just don't have the words. Well, lucky for you, I do have the words, and I have them for you in my Boundaries Bible. Go check that out. Blair, my Thanksgiving was good. My partner and I did it here in the south of France. It was my first time being responsible for my own creating the whole Thanksgiving, and I waited to the last minute and we did not have turkey. So my partner was sweet enough to go and get us some rotisserie chicken. But it was incredible. Like, I have to say, I was really impressed. I changed up some recipes and made them my own. I ate so much. I was super happy. My partner kept saying, he's like, this is a king's feast. And I was like, that's Thanksgiving. Alvina, I hope that helped you, babe. It's really getting very swift, very fast with saying no to the wrong people. I know that sounds so weird, but it's like shutting the door very quickly. It's what I feel. Well, it's what's true, but for you specifically, I feel like you have to get much quicker at closing the door on the wrong people. And that also means not giving them an opportunity to speak. Like, you already know what they're about. You don't need to have a conversation around it. Just no, bye. I don't want you in my life. Go, bye, done. And then you go surround yourself with your friends that you really enjoy. But it's getting really quick to close the door on the wrong people. Matt, there is turkey in France, but it's not as easy to find. So I waited to the last minute is really what it boils down to. Oh, that's so good, Ninja. Well, thank you for writing that down. He says, this is for you, Matt. He says, I'm sorry for where this hurt you and made you feel unsafe. And if you ever feel comfortable, I'm happy to hear how this made you feel unsafe. Thank you, Ninja Wolf, for writing that down. Super sweet of you. Blair, I'm so glad. And Thomas, thank you so much for being here, Thomas. I'm about to sign off, but Thomas, you should definitely watch this from the beginning. Robert, yes, please get the Boundaries Bible. I think for you, that's really going to support you. So when you have those hard conversations, it's like just having that text and just what I do, Robert, like if I have to have a hard conversation, I would write down what I'm going to say, which you have it written down for you. And I would just memorize it. And I would verbally try this, Robert. When you get the Boundaries Bible, I want you to take the scripts, find the scripts that resonate with your situation. And I want you to practice saying them. It sounds so stupid. It sounds childish. Who cares? It's better to save your relationship and look stupid privately than lose your relationship because you don't want to look like a fool behind closed doors. So what I would encourage you to do is get in front of a mirror and practice saying those things. And what you're doing is teaching your body a new way to respond so that when you're in the heat of the moment, you've already practiced and prepared yourself for it. The challenge is when someone tries to take that script and they're like, okay, I'm just going to say it once. And then in the heat of the moment, I'm going to say those lines. It doesn't work that way. You have to train your nervous system that it's okay to stand up for yourself. You have to train your nervous system that it's okay to confront and be responsive in a healthy way. And the only way that you can train your nervous system to show up for you in that regards is by practicing it. So get in front of the mirror and make sure that you practice that. It will really show up and bountiful rewards for you. All right, guys, I'm going to sign off. I will see you again next Monday live. Like I said, I've got some new videos coming out this week. I really hope that you guys enjoy them. And I hope you're enjoying the shorts. We're doing a lot of shorts lately. And yeah, excited about this TV show, Bravo. Wednesday, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time in America. It's called Love Without Borders. And I am hosting the show. So it will be very exciting for you guys and for myself to see me from YouTube and onto the television screen. I was going to say the big screen, but that's movies, and I'm not there yet. I don't know if I ever will be. That's for a different conversation. I hope so, Matt. Matt says, Arica, after your TV show on Wednesday, these streams are going to blow up, girl. I really hope so. That would be really exciting because I think it's fun. The more people that are here, the more questions come up and the more lives we all get to change and shift together. So it's great. All right, guys, I love you so much. And I'll see you next Monday. Don't forget to watch the show and know that you're loved and you're supported here. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.